Hey, it's Chris, just letting you know that, well, first of all, I had a little bit of technical difficulties. Nick's audio, a little bit quieter this week. Really had no way to save it. We start talking about the movie at about 13:28, I believe. So if you want to skip right to Barbarian, there it is. And if you stick around after the credits, it's about 20 minutes of ghost stories you can listen to. All right, enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Eating Soup Alone with your host, Elton DeFrance, and my co-host here.
Nissa and Elton.
Today we have two guests. Was it Natch and Cuss?
Yeah, that's me. I'm Cuss. What up?
I'm Nash. What's up?
Cuss
Welcome.
Bullets.
I'm Nash Bullets. We're brothers.
Two brothers. You know, we took an Uber over here earlier.
Did you really?
Yeah. Nice studio, I gotta say.
Thanks.
Yeah. It's
Built
great,
it with
like,
my own two hands.
homey vibe. It's weird. How much you guys pay for this?
Nothing. Stole
Nothing?
it. Yeah.
What
Kicked in the door.
With squatters, yeah.
That's insane. You guys done an Airbnb before?
Once or twice.
Once or twice, yeah?
Yeah, only in New Jersey.
Yeah?
That's a fact.
You got any crazy Airbnb stories?
No.
No?
No.
Never once?
No.
I have two crazy ones.
Lay 'em on us.
Nick, you ever stayed in an Airbnb before I get... Oh, I'm sorry, Nash?
No, Nash has a. What's the benefit of an Airbnb over a hotel? I don't get it.
I think they're
Cozy?
generally just cheaper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, cheaper while still having fine quality.
Not smelling like bleach.
Not smelling like bleach, not smelling like piss, not smelling like the chlorine from the pool. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Feels more homey
I
because
like
it's someone's home.
I like a hotel for the exact opposite reasons, because it's not homey, so I don't feel like I'm intruding on anyone's space,
It smells like bleach.
and it smells like bleach, so
Yeah.
I can do whatever.
No,
'cause
I
this
get
place
it.
is pretty clean already.
Yeah, I get it. I get the hotel, the allure of the hotel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can't go making it worse.
It's like a cool prison. pretty chill jail.
I've gotten two, like Airbnb type situations in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Both times used to be funeral homes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, what are the odds almost?
You picked them, so 100%.
Fair enough. Didn't do my research.
You liberal.
Were they good places to stay? What did you rate them?
What did I rate them?
Yeah?
What is it out of 5?
Yeah.
I
Give
didn't
a
book them
review.
necessarily. I was just tangential to the bookings. But I would rate them personally, both of them, 5 stars.
Wow.
Great places.
Was one of them haunted?
Yeah, one of them was definitely haunted.
Oh yeah.
First one may have told the story the last time that we were guests. But long story short, it was like a 37-room mansion at one point that became a funeral home, was then the home to a double murder the suicide. Then, because it was a funeral home, all of those funerals happened in the house.
Oh my
and
gosh.
then,
Well,
and then
that's
I stayed
efficient.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say expediency.
there. And then the second one, the place was literally called The Parlor, but I never clocked it in my brain case.
Just thinking of ice cream.
Yeah. But the second one was much more obviously a funeral home. Like, there was a bunch of sectioned off house that housed, we bumped into the owners and they were like, oh yeah, the basement is just straight up still where the embalming is. We haven't touched any of that stuff yet. Yeah, so yeah. Do you want me to tell a ghost story? Is that what you're teeing me up for?
No, I was just making conversation.
Okay, but the second place, you know how radiators tingle and tangle as they're heating up? God, the first night, I wasn't scared. I woke up and I was more annoyed, but I was it literally sounds like there's a million kids in the basement slapping a pole, because it was the most ting and tang and I've ever heard a radiator do. It was just I was talking to someone and they were like, oh yeah, that's what it does right before it means it's on the brink of blowing up. I was like, what the fuck?
That's
It
worse
didn't
than
blow.
being haunted.
Yeah, worse than being haunted. I was
You know what would happen though?
Huh.
You would haunt that hotel.
Wow.
So really no Airbnb stories, nothing? Always
You
been
guys seen
great.
a ghost in the old Parlor Hotel? No, what's he like? He's pretty chill, if I'm being honest. He's I've never seen it in a ghost before. He's just kind of like a dude. He just kind of hangs out.
So you guys really have no Airbnb stories? Nothing crazy?
My parents stayed in an Airbnb and they had one of those shelves up on the wall that was kind of just a plank of wood resting on 2 nails.
Yeah.
And naturally it fell off the
Yeah.
wall, and this massive, like, you know those like really big bottles of wine you
Yeah.
can get.
Oh yeah.
One of those fell and hit my dad in the head, and he had to go to the ER.
Like a fucking cartoon.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Did he have the big lump?
I reckon, yeah. Yeah, full on cone head.
Was he all right?
Yeah.
Like overall? Okay. No concussion, nothing like that.
He might have had a mild one, but
God damn.
yeah,
So funny.
the time my dad nearly died, so that was kind of crazy.
He nearly died?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
And there's also another time where this like crazy woman was living in the basement, and there were all these like you know, hallways and you know.
Elaborate on the crazy woman in the basement. Oh wait, you're talking about the movie. I'm fucking an idiot.
Yeah.
Eating Soup Alone is a podcast hosted by me, Christopher Crumley, and co-hosted by Nicholas Johnson. We try our best to ramble incoherently about a handful of movies at least once a week.
Anyway, Gus, I know that we're brothers, the Bullet Brothers. We live together, and we drove here.
We always carry 4 bullets in our pocket.
We always carried 4 or 5 bullets in our pocket.
You know how Warren is.
But no guns, huh? You
No
guys
guns.
don't carry
never
any guns?
guns.
No.
Right.
Very anti-gun. Nobody should own a gun.
Right,
We
that's
have
how you kill people.
Slingshots in the other pocket. So
Okay.
Oh, slingshotting bullets at people. That's
we're
funny.
slingshot
That's a
bullets
good
at
bit.
people,
Yeah. We're really funny.
yeah. We are. We're.
I think so. That's why we have you on as guests
Yeah.
Yeah.
today.
We're like the Flava Flav of eating soup alone.
And I know we're.
We combine like Voltron to be as funny as one man.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, because we're 2 people, he's 1 person. We gotta combine the.
Right. Just like every other man.
I'm the bottom half.
We're 2 people.
Oh yeah, we're brothers, and we drove here. We lived together, stuff like that. But we rarely.
I have no
talk.
license. Go
We
ahead.
only usually talk when we like both see the same movie.
Yes.
And we share an HBO account, and I noticed that after I watched Barbarian, and somebody else watched Barbarian again. Was it you?
No.
Really, you haven't seen Barbarian?
That's sus.
Oh wow!
That's sus.
I really wanted to talk about Barbarian.
I actually
Explain
had
it.
a
You guys
dream.
got to explain it to me.
I had a dream the other night that somebody logged onto my HBO account and watched Barbarian.
Wow. Psych! I watched Barbarian, guys. Let's talk about
Oh
it.
my
Chris,
God.
you got... Oh yeah, also Chris, before we left, we got this letter at the house for you.
Oh, no kidding.
I'm looking at it and I see bloody fingerprints.
Should I
on the
touch this? Is
envelope.
this evidence?
There's Barbarian on it.
It says Barbarian. Someone put an O instead of an A.
Ooh.
Did I? Let me see it.
It's a bit.
The ultimate bit.
Barbarian 2022, starring Georgina Campbell, Justin Long, Bill Skarsgård, and directed by Whitest Kids You Know alum Zach Kreger. Barbarian 2022 is a horror mystery film that I have not seen. I hear it's good. 7 out of 10. Were you doing a bit? Am I getting psyched? You didn't see Barbarian?
God, that's so spooky.
What's happening?
No, someone else that letter.
Oh, my bad.
Happens
Guys,
every week on your guys' podcast.
I've already pissed my pants.
Yeah. Chris, sorry guys, I'm hosting your podcast now. Chris, what's your experience? We should start with the hosts.
Hey, Cuss, what's your experience with Barbarian?
Shut up, Elton. What's your experience with Barbarian?
My experience with Barbarian was...
It's like history. I mean,
Right, yeah. I wanted to see it with my co-host here, Nissa, and we didn't see
That's
it in
me.
theaters.
When did you guys see it?
We watched it on Halloween night. Yes.
On
It was
HBO?
dark and stormy out.
why didn't you go to the theater to see it?
Because
I'm bad at planning things.
Because
The scariest trait
movie
of
theater
all.
industry is dying, and the 2 of you don't care.
I care deeply. How dare you say that
Then why
about me?
didn't you see Barbarian in theaters?
Because I'm bad at planning. I just told you.
You know what I did see in
I don't
theaters?
have anything yet. I'm
Nissa
sorry.
agrees.
Saw Bodies in theaters. But we're not talking about that movie.
Good on you, Cross. So is that the end of your experience of history
Experience?
with Barbarian?
Pretty much. I had heard that it was about an Airbnb that 2 people stay at, and that was all that I had heard about it until I had seen it.
I also tried to shut down any spoilers because I kept hearing people say like, I had it spoiled for me, but not in like a mean way, like where they were like angry about it. I just kept hearing people say like, oh, I had it ruined for me before going in, and I was like, okay, then I gotta stay away from any information about this movie.
Wait, can I like say spoilers?
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
Yeah, of course.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay,
okay.
Yeah.
That's the subtitle of this movie or this podcast. That's Eating Soup Alone. Spoilers.
I was thinking about the other day. We were
Yeah.
talking about it, like people getting it spoiled for them and stuff like that. And I wrote it down. There's a folder in my notes app on my phone called "Things That Make Me Sound Fake Deep," and I put this in there so I know what it sounds like before I say it. I think I like when movies get spoiled for me before I see them. You know, because like it is cool sometimes in a movie, like, oh fuck, I didn't see that coming. But I think I almost like more when I watch a movie and I know what's going to happen. So the first time I see it, I'm like, oh, I can see how they're building up to this.
Yeah.
Because it saves me a trip. I don't have to watch the movie twice.
It just makes
Yeah.
you cheap.
Yeah.
I get
The
that.
industry, the movie theater business is dying. I don't care about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to be said about that. Like, I'm not the biggest stickler about spoilers. It's just when something crosses my radar as something that really shouldn't be spoiled. Like, just for example, like if you said like, oh, I just saw like the Banshees of Worcestershire or whatever that movie is with Colin Farrell and Mad-Eye Moody. Yeah, Worcestershire sauce. Yeah, and you were like, oh, do you mind if I spoil a little bit real quick? I'd be like, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's a movie is literally the journey. That's something. All right, you know what? You guys asked, and I'm gonna do it. All right, I'm gonna be brave. My name is Chris, and I'm here to say I don't care about spoilers in any way. I'll watch any movie, no matter what you tell me. I'll even watch a movie if it's on the telly. That's right, I'll watch an edited version. I don't care if they cut out all the cursing. I'll watch any movie any day. That's Chris, and that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
That was really good.
Weird that you
thanks.
called yourself Chris, though.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Well, that's my middle name. Cuss Chris Bullets.
Right.
Actually, funny enough, talking about spoilers,
Yeah.
I did have one thing spoiled for me about Barbarian, but I was so like taken aback that I didn't believe it.
Which one?
Basically, I think I saw like a tweet and it was saying like, "Wow, it was crazy that Bill Skarsgård just ended up being a nice guy."
We'll get there in a second, but let me be brave for a second. Because I don't care about the spoilers thing. I also don't care about a movie being like predictable to a degree, just because. A movie's about the journey. It's not really to me about like I don't need to be like, oh shit, I never seen that, or like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Those are fun when they do happen. But anyways, yeah, just my baseline experience or the expectation watching a movie is not like, oh shit, this better be fucking 2001: A Space Odyssey, or else I'm not gonna give a fuck, you know.
Just checking to see if the space heater was on. Burn it up in this stupid suit.
Yeah, it's hot as hell in this
Yeah.
house. I'm sitting under the heater.
By the way, for anyone listening, just so you know, I did keep up with the bit. I'm still wearing a suit. From
Yeah.
last week.
And you did walk by, and I was like, am I stinking a little bit? But
No,
I think
it's
it's
just-
you, so
He
it's
said
nice.
he's not
Good
gonna
on
watch.
you.
He said he's not gonna watch it for a year. Yeah.
Oh, I
so,
listened to the last episode. I know exactly what he said.
Yeah. First question I have: did this movie scare anybody here? Did you guys get a little scared? Now I'm not saying like, oh, did you cry? Did you poop your pants? I'm saying like, were you like, oh, that's oh gosh, all right, that's spooky.
I mean, I'm always scared by like those dark hallway shots. That'll
Yeah.
get me in any movie.
Yeah.
So I
I
was a little
definitely get
spooked.
what you mean.
Yeah, no offense to Nissa, but very jumpy.
Okay, yeah.
movies.
I did jump when like there was like a lightning strike.
Right, yeah, like was it the first 5 minutes of the movie?
Yeah. Opening shot.
I'm jumpy IRL, but not really with movies.
Yeah.
But IRL, Nick comes around a corner.
Tickles his ear a little
Oh,
bit.
not an exaggeration. A couple times a day. Chris and I will be talking in here. He'll go into there, and then a beat. And I'll get up to continue the conversation, walk in here and go, so Chris, and I go, ah, Christ. I'm like, bro, I've lived here for 3 years. I don't know.
That's so fun. So I have a mannequin in my room aimed at my door,
Well,
and
why don't you do that?
because I like the
Exactly.
mannequin. But Nissa walks into my room every single time and gets scared by
Yeah.
it. Opens the door and goes,
Understandable.
it's one of my favorite things.
Dugan Nash, were you spooked?
Me, yeah.
Really? Is there anything that like stands out as a highlight that we want to address, kind of like the hallway thing, with anybody else?
I For me, it's just. Do you have one?
Me, I think seeing the spooky monster was. I don't usually get scared at movies.
It was a woman, thank you.
Yeah, she has a name.
Oh, okay, well, didn't want to
Did she
drop
have
the
a
lead,
name?
but anyways, I was trying to bury it, but that's fine.
The race car driver. That's why I remember it. It's because of like the race car driver, Derek Patrick.
That's
her name's
Danica.
Danica?
She
Danica.
doesn't have a name. I made that up.
Oh, yeah, I just called
say.
her, I keep on calling her Mommy.
That's good.
Yeah, because she's got big old milkers. You can cut that out.
That stays.
If you play that a second time, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Mama Milkers. We're gonna really remix it too.
No, I don't usually get scared at movies. It's even
Right.
scary movies. And I was a little spooked when I saw Mommy for the first time.
What's
So
the last movie that scared you before this one?
could not tell you.
What's the scariest movie in your opinion?
Maybe Inception, because I saw it many years ago, and I was a little unsettled at all the scenes where the monster is just kind of lurking in the background.
That's not Inception.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking of then.
Insidious?
Insidious, thank you. Yeah, I mix up the two names all
The whole time I was like, how is he gonna convince me Inception's scary?
Inception, yeah, because I am terrified of being convinced that I'm dreaming all the time.
The whole time I was like, alright, I gotta let the next person I ask know that if they give me some bullshit answer like Inception, they're out of here.
No, Insidious, but like I said, it was just a few years ago, and like seeing Darth Maul in the background was a little unsettling. Yeah.
I saw Insidious in theaters. In like middle school, I was with a bunch of kids that like I didn't normally hang out with. They were like kind of the cool kids, and then like me and some guys from my friend group like kind of
Give me names.
got attached. Jordan Wargo, Ryan Curtis, Sky Chapman, Autumn Flynn, Sydney Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Cut all this. Selena Guerrero.
Guerrero,
Dante Owens, and Michael Campbell, I believe. Anyway, having a
I
great time in the
lied.
movie
I
theater
cheat.
beforehand. I buy a fake mustache. And I'm like one of those machines. I didn't have a mustache at the time, so this was very funny.
Mhm.
So I wore a fake mustache the whole time, and I did not want to go see this movie because I was horrified of scary movies. Like, they would keep me up for days. Insidious kept me up for days.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting in the movie theater next to my friend Jordan at the time, and I got a fart coming on, and I can feel it. And Jordan's close enough to me that I'm like, if I aims at him, he'll be able to feel it, and he'll laugh. And so I gear it up, I go, I fart, and it's the first quiet part in the movie. And like, it's one of those things that happens in a James Wan horror movie where the audio basically drops out, and then there's a scare. And I think it was like a guy walked past a window, and I went, bump! So what happened is someone's talking like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Bump! And everybody in the theater, because it was the loudest fart in the world, was just crying laughing and missed the first scary part of the movie. And I just never talked to those people again.
Nissa, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
The scariest movie I've ever seen. Gosh, I don't know.
As frequent listeners of this podcast know, Nissa loves scary movies. So.
Which is why I can't name any.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought Hereditary was pretty scary.
Oh, Nick.
Hereditary's pretty good.
Nick's always going on about it.
Yeah, Chris, if I remember, didn't love it, right?
Yeah, I don't really remember most of it. I just remember the girl losing her head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Spoilers.
crazy.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I think the thing I love the most about Hereditary is like it's not even, it's pretty scary at times, but like, more so for most of it, I'm like, I'm just uncomfortable. Like I
Yeah.
just filled with a sense of dread and despair. Like not so much like I'm scared, but I'm like, I don't want to be alive while I'm watching.
I
this
know.
movie.
I
I've only ever seen it once because I'm like, I don't know if I can.
I've also
It's
I've never
once.
seen it. Do you guys want to watch it after this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Sick. We said we wanted to watch scary movies.
Yeah, we can do that.
So sick.
This part's getting cut. Did you see the newest Halloween movie?
I did see that.
Yes.
Yes.
That opening was like, whoa, what the
Oh,
fuck?
hello.
Oh, when a
wow.
kid dies in a movie, it gets me for a couple
Well,
days. if I'm being
when you
honest.
watch a kid fold in half and like kick himself in the back of the head, I did not like that one bit.
That's pretty
That was
cool.
no good.
That was a
Did you guys like the movie
Honestly.
overall? I liked the movie.
That's fine.
I didn't think it was a good Halloween necessarily.
That's
I don't know. It's
exactly
like,
what I think.
yeah, like I feel like if it was his own horror movie, almost like it would have been, like it would have had no ties or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
even like looser ties, like just no Michael, but it could be set in Haddonfield with Laurie.
Right.
I don't know.
Like a Halloween 3
Yeah.
type.
Yeah, something
Season
like
of
that.
the Witch
Yeah.
type thing.
Yes.
I really liked, as a person who's never seen any of the other Halloween movies, when they had him go into the tunnel
Sewer?
for the first time. Yeah, the sewer for the first time, and he gets grabbed, right? And then they go back with the cop, the shitty boyfriend, and he's like looking around and he looks at the wall, and in the wall you see like the indent in the wall that looks like Michael's face. I was like, oh, where the fuck are they going with this? That's so cool. And then Michael comes out and fucking.
I will say it's a movie that multiple times I was like, where the fuck are they going with
Yeah.
this? Yeah. Much like this movie. All right.
What's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
Probably The Blair Witch or The Sixth Sense.
Really? Sixth Sense?
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen either of
Blair
them.
Witch.
Yeah.
I haven't
You don't
seen
feel like it's scary?
Blair Witch is going to be my answer as well, so.
Yeah.
What, that it's the scariest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
Interesting. I don't know. I think maybe it's because I watched it after, like, it's been hyped up so much.
Yeah.
And I think it's like, because it's the film that kind of got found footage films
Mhm.
to be what they are now.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of the first of its kind, so maybe I've seen it been done better.
Okay.
And I don't know, I just, when I was watching it, I was like, these kids are kind of annoying.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's different strokes for different folks. Like for me, like the scariest thing is legitimately like which aside they're on day 5 or 6 of just no idea where the fuck they're at.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's so fucking scary to me. And like
Yeah.
the whole thing is like improvised. Like they were loosely told like what they should be talking about, but like the lines are all just them coming up with it on the spot kind of a thing.
That is fun.
And so it just so naturally like just like I don't know, there's just scenes where like, you know, a character will just be like, look, I'm supposed to be at fucking work today, all right? And I haven't called my girlfriend. And at this point, like, she's got to be wondering what's going on. My boss got to be wondering what's going on. School's got to be wondering what's going on. This is America. It's the 21st century, whatever, or the 20th, whatever, the 21st, whatever, who gives a shit. Like, someone's going to look at some point kind of a thing. And it just keeps getting worse with, like, the fucking, like, you cannot read the map. And the person saying, like, I can read the map. And then they, just the whole thing is just like, what a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, before they even find the creepy house, you know? And without any noises in the woods at night, like just the idea of like,
Yeah, like that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like,
Yeah.
When it comes like, as what sets it apart from other found footage movies is like, Paranormal Activity or whatever is like, spooky things are happening in my house slowly but surely, and then ghost happens. In Blair Witch, Blair Witch is happening slowly but surely until it hits a head. But like Chris said, besides all that, we're lost in the woods. That's the scariest real life thing I can imagine, on top of a witch that may or may not actually be out there.
yeah. And it's also like, so not even talking about the Blair Witch totally anymore, but like something I've noticed about like paranormal movies, like The Conjuring's another example. That's always how it starts with like haunting movies, is like they're at their like lowest, you know, like they financially couldn't even afford to move. They're kind of in shambles. They got to pay bills and stuff like that. So like all of that real world tension, I think, can like elevate the spooky stuff, because it's like fuck, and then on top of it, there's a witch in these woods. You know? But like, you know, same thing with like a haunted house. Like fuck this house, and like, you know, I just got laid off at work. Like, I'm not gonna be able to afford to like do the renovations and stuff. And like, oh shit, there's flying pigs that come out of the basement, and also our son just killed us at 3 a.m. or whatever. You know.
And prom's tomorrow, and I've got 2 pimples.
Have you guys seen The Ritual?
No. I don't think I've even heard of them.
Oh ho 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 ho! Damn, how scary is this movie?
See, now I totally get what you're saying about Blair Witch.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
also-
convince you. I'm just like
No.
talking point stuff.
That also freaks me the hell out, being
Yeah.
lost in the woods. The Ritual is like that.
Yeah.
They get, basically these 4 guys go on this hike
Uh-huh.
in Sweden, I think, and they get lost. They stumble upon some creepy stuff in the woods.
Yeah.
It's very much Blair Witch. Like, they find like an elk up in like the trees, and they find this creepy house and all these weird like
Yeah.
symbols and stuff, and there's a very cool monster in it.
Okay.
It's perfection. I think it's one of like the best like modern horror films.
As
out there.
as horror movies go, like, are you a monster fan? Do you like monster, like what do they call them, like creature features? I think.
Only occasionally.
Yeah, it's not really my bread and butter. Like, what would be like the subgenre that you think like would be like your go-to horror? I guess. Like slasher, or is it ghosties in the attic, or?
It's definitely not ghosts. Maybe science fiction.
Really?
But I also do love a slasher. But
Yeah.
a slasher that's like, who's the killer? You
Okay.
know?
Give me an example of that.
Oh, like Scream.
Scream, okay. Yes, that's a great example, yes. Scream, I also think, is one of my favorite horror movies, but not even just one of my favorite horror movies. I think it's one of my favorite movies.
Me too.
Yeah, I genuinely, I find that one of any slasher I've seen one of the scariest also.
Mhm.
There's something about like Ghostface as a killer just seems so like visceral to me. Like
Yeah.
it just seems like I don't know, there's just something about when he shows up. It just seems like it's gonna be like brutal and unforgiving, but not in like the Rob Zombie way where it's like we're gonna stomp ahead or something.
Mhm.
Like it's just like. God, like there's just an overwhelming sense of like, oh, you're done when Ghostface
Yeah.
shows up for some reason. I don't know how
gonna
they
get
pull
you.
it off. I don't know how they pull it off because that's what every slasher movie is.
Uh-huh.
But for some reason, that's the one that always gets me. It's just like, oh fuck, there he is.
I think what it is that they do a good job of convincing you before telling you that it's a dude.
Yeah.
That's scarier than like a Jason or a Freddy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like at the beginning of the first scream, I think Drew Barrymore goes outside when he gets inside and she's watching him through the window. And he's like looking behind the couch, and, like behind curtains and shit like that.
I saw a
Fuck,
scary
is she
movie.
over here
Yeah.
and stuff like that. That's just makes it him more like a man in his belief.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
especially how like I don't know, people like that are running from him can like knock him over and trip him and stuff.
yeah.
So it's like, oh god, he's real.
Mhm. Tess Marshall has a job interview in Detroit. She gets an Airbnb.
Mm.
And then what happens? Crust?
Crust, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, yeah, Tess Marshall shows up in Detroit, as you said. Late at night, it's stormy, it's rainy. Yeah. She goes
it?
up to the porch. Yes, it is, yeah. Long story short, she like tries the little, keypad, wrong combo, finds real combo, no key inside of it. What the fuck? A light comes on in the house. What the fuck? There's somebody in here.
After banging on the door.
Yeah, bangs again or whatever. He comes to the door. They have their little, for lack of a better term, meet cute. Where they're like, we booked the same Airbnb.
There's only one bed.
There's only one bed. What are we going to do? So anyways.
Even though the man in this house is a tall drink of water,
Ooh.
she's apprehensive, understandable.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you seen that jaw?
Oof,
Yeah.
crazy eyes.
So, yeah, they kind of dance around like the who's sleeping on the couch, who's sleeping in the bed, yada, yada, yada.
Oh, they dance none. He takes it all.
Oh yeah, I really like this. Might be maybe my favorite part of this movie is the beginning where she's trying to figure this out
Mm-hmm.
and how, like I think it's supposed to be the point, but how she does literally everything right
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
until she meets, I guess, Justin Long. But yeah, just how she's like, no, I'm gonna go to my car and get a hotel. And he's like, no, it's not great out there. We're in the middle of Detroit. You should come inside and do that. And then she's like, okay, you have to show me the confirmation email for this Airbnb on your phone. He's like, yeah, that's totally understandable and stuff like that.
Yeah. Two things I want to say. One is that Bill Skarsgård, from the beginning, I avoided spoilers, so I was like, fuck, dude, this guy definitely has the dungeon. And because the only thing I'd heard is the word dungeon. I was like, he's going to lock her in the dungeon. The whole time I was thought, this is a bad man who does bad things, for sure.
Dungeon dweller for sure.
Yeah. Spoilers, he gets his head smashed by a mommy milker monster. Is that what you
Milker
called
monster,
it?
Yeah,
Is that what you called
that's,
it?
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I said.
Yes.
The Milky Mommy Monster.
Yes,
that's
the
good.
Milky Mommy monster. Is it worth mentioning that? Am I reading too much into it, or does it fit into the theme of like the Justin Long kind of like power dynamic kind of rape stuff? That she is so apprehensive until he basically says like, "Oh, I am this person," and she goes, "Oh my God, I actually know who that is, and I have respect for that." And then the power dynamic shifts a little bit, and she's like, "You know what? Yeah, I will have a glass of wine. Yeah, I will stay here." You get what I'm saying?
No.
Not quite.
I don't understand what you're saying.
I'm talking about like how
Right, that he says he's a jazz musician, right?
that she's aware of. So I'm talking about
Right.
like that kind of a thing, like the celebrity aspect of it, that kind of a
Oh,
thing where like she lets her
yeah.
guard down when she realizes, oh, this is somebody that I know and I respect.
Right.
Now I feel safe enough to have the glass of wine to stay, yada yada yada.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit different than that. I could be wrong though. Let me know if I'm absolutely wrong, but I think what it is they mentioned first
The
in
doc.
a documentary about a jazz musician.
Mhm. And he says he's seen it. She
Well,
goes,
no,
nobody's
I've
seen
it.
that.
She goes, no way, I can't believe anyone's seen that.
Yeah.
And then she says that the filmmaker is making one about Detroit.
Mhm.
And he says, oh, I'm part of this company that is helping fix up Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm not like the head guy,
Mhm.
but I'm involved with it.
Yeah.
So less so, I don't think she's like, oh, fuck, this guy's famous, but more so like, oh, we have common interests. And it kind of more, it also feels like, oh, this is a very elaborate backstory if he's lying to me, you know?
Right.
Okay.
It kind of
Kinda
erodes the lie, I feel. Or like
Yeah.
it erodes the possibility of a lie.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It humanizes it.
Okay.
Very much so.
So they figure out that they both legitimately are supposed to be there. Yada, yada, yada. They have a little bit of conversation. She brings up an obscure doc. He's seen it. Yada, yada, yada. He's a part of the Lion Tamers, which I guess is
Oh,
they
yeah.
fix up Detroit, I guess. That's what they must be.
Well, did
And-
she say that, or did he say that's a New York jazz group or something?
I don't know what he said, but he said, well, I'm,
Lion Tamers?
The Lion Tamers? I
He
feel like
says-
that's what he had said.
yeah, he said, I'm a part of the Lion Tamers. He's like, well, not the guy, but I'm one of the guys, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but were they a band? Like you just
I thought they were. A
That's
jazz
why
group
I
from New
brought the
York.
thing up
Oh,
earlier. That's
really?
why
That's why-
that's why I brought it up.
I thought that's what he had said.
Yeah,
Evan was
that-
talking to us while we were watching this movie, so I kind of missed
Gotcha.
this part a little
I
bit.
assumed Lion Tamers was like a Detroit thing where they're like building infrastructure or something like that. 'cause of
Oh,
the
he-
football.
Isn't it like
said
they're
New York.
getting they're
Oh.
from New York, but they
Yeah.
were like buying somewhere in Detroit.
Yeah,
or
I thought that
something.
what they were
Okay.
trying to do is set up
Right.
like a new, because Detroit's got
Yeah.
jazz festival. So I thought that they were trying to set up like a new base, like
Yeah, that was the whole reason
trying
I
to get
brought
a
up the
foothold
thing
in
earlier about
Detroit.
the
Yep.
celebrity.
Okay.
Was because I thought he was, in like a band or whatever.
Mm.
Well, hey, I said something if I'm wrong.
I didn't
And you
know.
all went, yeah, no, go for sure, Nick. And I'm like, nah, you're wrong.
But anyways, for one reason or another, they decide, hey, my guard's down. I'm going to drink that wine. I'm going to stay here. Yada, yada, yada. They have a good time. Seems like they got some chemistry.
I genuinely want them to fall in love. if I'm
Mm.
Me
honest.
too.
Mm.
Yeah.
Cute as hell.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm a pervert because I was like, are they going to fuck right now? But whatever, they don't. He sleeps on the couch. She sleeps in the bed. She wakes up in the middle of the night. Door open. What the hell? He's making weird noises. What the actual hell? She goes out there, tries to wake him up. He goes, what the hell? You scared the shit out of me. She goes back to bed. Whatever. Job interview in the morning. Seems to go good. Back to Airbnb.
What building was that job interview in? I've lived in the area and been to Detroit many times. Don't recognize that building. Just want to put that out.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
idea.
same.
Mm.
I will say, before I watch this, you can cut this out if you want me saying this, but Crust had a friend who was like, yeah, but it's very clearly not from Detroit. We're watching it, and I was like, well, yeah, because it's a movie. And when she walks out of the house,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, this is a parking lot of a soundstage for sure. And then it shows the shot of the freeway. I'm like, oh, I recognize all this. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The freeway shot.
But yeah, so anyway, she has that job interview. She goes back home. And why does she go in the basement?
Didn't
She's
she need
toilet
toilet paper?
Yeah, toilet paper.
Mm-hmm.
And she noticed the string. She pulled the string. Hallway.
2 washers and 2 dryers in this unit as well. You notice that one?
Oh, no.
Washer and dryer upstairs, washer and dryer at the base of the stairs too.
It's true.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Crazy.
Also, I'd like to say hats off to the people that made this movie. I would never have thought of it, but the absolute scariest way to open a secret door, just a rope coming out of a wall.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Would you pull
It's
that rope?
So
I
scary.
wouldn't.
No.
I'm not sure I would even notice it.
Nope, I wouldn't notice
Yeah.
it either.
I'd be like, there's the toilet paper.
Not a gripe.
No.
That's fine. Movie's a movie. Movie got to do movie things.
Mhm.
But I don't know that I would even notice the... Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I wouldn't notice. But, yeah, so she does, though. She finds a scary tunnel. Very spooky.
Mm.
Hate that.
Mm.
Phone upstairs. Is she already locked in?
Yes.
She's
Yeah.
locked in.
Just locked in.
Phone upstairs. So she devises this elaborate situation with like a chair and a mirror, super elaborate, and uses the
one light in the basement.
The one light in the basement. Yeah, illuminate the hallway. Finds a door at the end. What could be scarier? An all white room, 1 camera, 1 bucket, bloody handprint, and a bed. What could be scarier?
Yeah, this whole movie is every time someone turns a corner, it's like, what is the scariest thing I could possibly imagine seeing? A dirty bed, a camera, and a bucket? Got it.
Yeah.
Next corner, what's the scariest thing? Another hallway? What could be scarier than that? Oh, cages.
Maybe
oh,
some
God.
stairs.
Yeah.
Many stairs.
Up until this point, I'm like, damn, I know exactly where this movie's going. Bill Skarsgård's on the locker in here. Whatever. He comes home. They open up the window. She gives the key. Yada yada yada. He ends up in the basement with her after they do a bunch of arguing about like, I saw something in the basement. And he's like, I can't just fucking believe what you say, which also to me rings as maybe
Yeah, she's a woman.
she's a woman.
Right, kind of weird, especially after they have that discussion about how Bill is, I don't know, kind of like lightly gaslighting her about this basement scene after just being like such a cool dude in the night before. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, you're in an Airbnb.
Right.
The person you're staying with, forget the dynamic.
Sure.
It's like, hey, there's something really creepy in the basement. Would you just leave or would you check it out?
Yeah, because by all means, she's a stranger.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And like what would you like go to the police station with her and be like, oh, I didn't see anything, but
No, now keep in mind at the same time I thought that what was her name?
Tess.
Tess. I thought that Tess was going to be the baddie of the movie.
Whoa.
Yeah, because like I said, I had just heard that it was 2 people booked in the same Airbnb. That's all I had heard.
Yeah.
Going into
It
this.
was a red
fix this
herring.
movie like I fixed Halloween Ends.
No, I thought the movie was fine how it was. I don't need to fix it personally. But so I was assuming that Tess was going to be the baddie, and so, like from Bill's perspective, I just don't get. Sorry, Keith. I don't get why he'd be so adamant to go see the spooky thing in the basement. I don't get why anybody's ever so adamant to go see a spooky thing anywhere. Personally.
You know what I think it might be though? Earlier in the movie, they're having that conversation, like when they're finally having the line, where
Mhm.
she's like, "If it was reversed, and you came knocking on the door, 1, I wouldn't have let you in.
Right.
Mhm.
But 2, you would have just walked in. You would not have been nearly as scared as I was.
Mm.
And that's why when he goes in the basement, he goes fucking all the way down in the basement.
Right.
Or in general goes, I want to see the basement.
Mm.
Because
Okay.
he's not scared.
Mm.
He gets his head smashed like a watermelon, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
was the first time in the movie where I was like, "Whoa, okay,
Yes, that
this
was
movie is not gonna do what I thought it was gonna do."
That was jarring for sure.
It was very
Mm.
jarring. Hard cut to Justin Long living his best life. It seems like.
Singing
It
a-
seems
singing
like.
a good song.
Oh. Trouble in
It's-
Paradise.
Yeah.
He's a rapist.
He's singing along to some track.
Hot track.
Top down, top 100 track on the radio.
Mm.
Gets a call, and someone on the phone just goes, "Hey, you know you did a rape, right?" And he's like, "What? I didn't do a rape." And they're like, "Yeah, it's all getting shut down. You got no job. You're done." And he's like, "I don't believe this." Then he goes to his financial advisor, and his financial advisor is basically like, "Yeah, you don't got the funds. You got all these properties in Detroit, but they're not worth much. And also, I'm not your financial advisor anymore." Then he goes to Detroit.
And he
After-
goes and hangs out with his bro at the club.
When he's in
and
Detroit,
admits
yes.
to the entire
He
thing.
does.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. After, though, real quick, he does get a phone call where he tells somebody on the phone, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm in Detroit." And they're like, "Well, that's not good. You're going to be arrested soon, and, like, you cannot just be in Detroit. That's like fleeing. Like, you can't leave the state. I know you're not arrested now or, like, charged with anything, but it does not look good for you to just go to Detroit."
Right.
But anyways,
Was the assault performed against the person who Tess had the interview with? Am I correct in remembering that?
no,
No?
it's a
It's a
TV
different
show.
person? Oh, I
It's
thought
a
it was-
pilot that he's just gotten picked up, and it was an actress that he asked to be on the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought I remember their names being the same.
Yeah. But, yeah, he does go to the bar, and he's like, "Bro, listen, bro, no, you know how I'm like the eye of the tiger when it comes to sex, and, like, she was saying no at first, but, like, come on, man, then we, like, did it kind of thing." Then he calls her, and he leaves, like, an awkward the voicemail where he says, like, "I'm sorry."
So hard to
Yeah.
watch.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of this is hard to watch. This Justin Long is just,
I
yeah.
do love. I feel like he had a couple conversations before that with other people on the phone. Like, I'm just gonna call her, and everyone like, absolutely, do not fucking call her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
This is where the Whitest Kids You Know kind of comes in, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know that he had directed and I think he partly wrote this movie, or did he?
I think he
fully
wrote this thing.
movie?
This is, yeah, he wrote
yeah,
this,
it was
yeah.
his baby.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that beforehand, and then after seeing that Zach had done all that, I was like, oh, makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
This is 100% a Whitest Kids You Know scene.
Yeah. Another thing to mention is when he gets to his property in Detroit, we really glazed over the fact that there's just Tess and Bill Skarsgård's shit everywhere. And he's like, "What the fuck is this? Like, when you guys have this shit cleaned?" And they're like, "Yeah, before they come in." He's like, "What the fuck do you mean before someone rents it? That's an awful system. Why not clean it after? Like, how am I supposed to know if anybody's squatting in this place?" Like,
Fully fair point on Justin's.
yeah,
on
honestly,
Justin's account,
that
fair
rapist is
point.
making some sense. Yeah. He finds the basement,
Here's
yeah.
a spooky noise in the basement.
This is the funniest part of the whole fucking movie to me.
Oh my God.
This
For
shit
sure.
killed me. Him just being like, "Oh, hell yeah."
Oh yeah.
Can basement, like, he's like Googling, like, does that count towards the square foot count? And he's like, usually no, but he's like, but usually. And just, yeah, as he finds, like, the extra tunnel, he's like, "Oh, bitch." And he's, like, measuring it. And there's, like, a point where, like, he's halfway downstairs. He's like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Because it keeps going, you know? And, yeah, just every time he turns the corner, he's like, "Oh, my God, what the fuck? 13, 14? Oh, so funny.
Another Whitest Kids You Know skit, to be
Oh,
honest
yeah,
with you.
it's
Yeah.
so funny.
It's like legitimately so funny, but
So
it also works so well with like everything else in the movie. Like I was saying about Bill Skarsgård going down into the basement because of the conversation they had earlier. shitty Justin Long, who doesn't notice his own red flags, is seeing all this insane shit in the basement and does not really put it together that something awful is about to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, I love when he's in the little room with like the camera and the bed, and he just doesn't even think about it. He's like yanking the bed against the wall so he can fucking
He like pinches his finger in the tape measure and stuff like that. It's so good.
I'll also say 2 things here. Well, 3 things. 1, he fumbles with the knife, which is a bit of foreshadowing when he fumbles the gun later. But anyways, at this point I thought for sure with his track record of being a rapist, he's going to get caught with all this shit around and they're going to think it was his.
Oh, I didn't
That's
know
what I
that.
thought.
Yeah.
The other thing that I thought for sure was going to happen, and Nick, you can back me up on this because he thought the same thing. I was like, dog, this movie's going to definitely, like, Justin Long is even going to be our final character. There's going to be another act where there's another person that wanders into this house. Neither of those things necessarily happened. But
no, they did. They did cut to a whole other, through a third story without letting you know what happened.
Oh,
They
yeah.
did with Justin Long, and then they cut to Dan in the 80s.
oh yeah.
Chris called a lot of this movie.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
but also I didn't find it that predictable. Like a lot of the stuff that was like classic tropey stuff, like just didn't register because like that's just usually how movies are told. But the things that were remarkable did definitely stick in my mind.
Yeah,
But
like
anyways,
I've heard most of the complaints I've heard about this movie are like, it was pretty predictable and like kind of boilerplate and stuff like that. And I'm
Really?
like,
yeah, I know that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I was like,
yeah,
what?
exactly.
Yeah.
Like when we watched it, Chris was like, "We're gonna cut to a third person. Monster's gonna be an incest baby," and he called it right from like as soon as like those clues were being laid. And even though we knew that, and that was by definition predictable, it was predicted. Everything that happened on the way to those things was kind of like nothing I've ever seen.
Right, it was all
before, so-
interesting at the
Yeah,
very
exactly,
least.
Yeah, because as soon as I saw that lady, I was like, they're definitely doing like a wrong turn, kind of like incest baby locked in
Yeah.
the basement thing.
Really?
Yeah.
You're a fucking genius there, cuss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My IQ is
Hats
like
off to you.
93 or something like that, so.
Yeehaw.
Anyways.
Wait, right, I call it bullet points. That's your last name. I don't know if you remember that or not.
I didn't even hear the joke.
It was really good.
You'll have to listen to the episode. When you say things right, I call them bullet points. That's your last name.
Right.
That's our last
And
name.
that's an extra 3 cents for us.
Sorry, brother. I keep forgetting.
Justin Long bumps into scary Milky Monster, and basically falls into a hole that has Tess in it as well.
Yeah.
And this scene was a little hard for me to watch when Mama is putting the fucking baby bottle through
It's
the
got all
grate,
the hair all over
and she's
it.
like, you have to drink it, you have to drink it, you can't get upset because she'll get upset. And then she gives the baby bottle to Tess, and Tess just starts going.
Gosh. And she's been down there for weeks at this point.
She's been living off of milk. And then they give the bottle back to Justin Long. He's like, but then Mama takes baby, and
we missed it a little bit, but yeah, he sees the breastfeeding room on his way there. So when he doesn't drink it, it's like, again, movie being predictable, but still so good. Being like, oh, she's taking him to the breastfeeding room. Oh, he's getting the boob. He's getting
Yeah.
it. Oh.
Ooh.
yeah.
Is that predictable or just good though? Because I
Okay.
like that a lot.
It's predictable in a good way.
Yeah.
It's what we in the business like to call foreshadowing.
A setup.
By we in the
Ooh.
business, I mean me and my brother Crust. We don't want to brag, but we're the new Cullen brothers. We're the Bullet Brothers.
Look out for our Scream 7 pitch. So whatever. The titty gets sucked. Tess gets out the hole.
I love when she walks by the breastfeeding room and sees someone and she goes,
She gets outside and she tries to contact the police.
yes.
There's one other thing I want to mention. I called it late, but as soon as I saw the homeless man chasing her into the house after the thing happened where someone was like, that's not a good neighborhood, I was like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. That guy knows something about the house and he's trying to warn her.
Yeah.
I didn't call it until later. You can verify that I called it later, but in that moment I was like, that's what's going on here.
Yeah, I thought about it when he ran up on her
Yeah.
first. When he was
Yeah.
like, get out of that house. I was like,
Yeah.
he for sure knows something, but also at the same time, just that shot of her getting out of her car and in the background, out of focus, is that homeless man sprinting towards her.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, greatest fear. Oh, yeah, for sure. That'd be, oh, God, I hate it.
I don't know if that was the best approach from his.
No, that's
Right.
no.
He was working on social skills. So she goes outside. She's looking for police, and ACAB all the way. I do have respect for this movie. Like, there's a point where she calls the police about the crazy thing she found in the basement, and I have a very similar situation, or I've been in a similar situation where like she calls and the police are like, "Yeah, okay,
Oh, yeah, she goes with the
great."
homeless man.
Yeah, about the homeless man. Right. So anyways, yeah, she does call the police. They offer no help. She bumps into police when she escapes from the dungeon, and she says it. She's like, I'm not a fucking crackhead or something, but yeah, they're very apprehensive about what she's saying. They ask if she has ID. She's like, I have no ID. No, you're not hearing me? I just escaped from a fucking dungeon. I have nothing, They go to the house, and she's like, we got to get in there. There's another guy in there. And they're like, ma'am, you're doing a crime right now. You broke that window. And then they're like, we got a fucking 3947. They're like, they get out of there, whatever. So she decides she's going to take the law into her own hands, breaks the door down, goes down there to get Justin Long, leaves the door open with a chair, though.
Oh, yeah.
Tess is thinking.
Yeah, I feel like you're thinking, what was that?
I don't know if I would go and rescue Justin Long.
Yeah.
Oh, were you getting stressed, like secondhand stress?
Yes.
Yeah, so I was going to say, how do you
Strange
feel
decision
about that?
Here's how I feel about it. I'm not trying to, I swear to God, I'm not trying to virtue signal. I think I would also die, but I don't think I could leave knowing that someone was down there about to be in the same, because I just did that for 3 weeks, and now there's a new person down there. Like, I know what he's about to do for just until he dies, basically. Like, I really feel like I couldn't.
But would you try to, if you could get out, get help and then come back?
Yeah, I think that would be my tactic, because, like, I would know that I just lived in there for, like, 3 weeks, and my tactic would basically be like, okay, go back into the house. Her fucking phone is upstairs. Get my fucking phone. Get my fucking wallet. Maybe take a shower. Put on clean clothes. And then I would try to
A snack?
yeah.
Yeah.
But this is not an
Power
interesting movie, obviously. Like what, you watch her shower, you watch her get her wallet, she goes to the police and she says, hey, look at this. I stayed in this Airbnb, found this crazy shit in the basement. I got locked down there for 3 weeks. Okay. 3 weeks I was locked down there, right?
Yeah.
Then another guy stumbled upon it, got locked in this pit with me. Okay. Then I escaped while she was distracted. This lady who held me captive was distracted with the new person. Maybe I wouldn't shower and stuff. Maybe I'd leave it all grungy, but I'd have ID in my phone. Maybe that's what I would do.
Would you go back and just take some selfies next to the scary doors?
I'd maybe take a picture or two.
Yeah.
Well, from what I remember.
But anyways, basically what I would do is I'd go to the cops and I would just say that kind of thing. I'd be like, listen, there was a guy held captive right now at this address. I stayed in this Airbnb. So that's what I'm trying to say is no, I probably wouldn't cinematically kick the fucking door down and go down there to save him. But I mean, real life is way different,
Yeah, Elton and I were talking about this the other day. We were texting each other because he was like, hey, come on my movie podcast. And I was like, well, how do you feel about the movie? And didn't you say that her going back for Justin Long seems pretty counterintuitive, or
It's just weird to me. I don't see why, after we see so many times her being apprehensive towards men, after kind of being strong against men, she hangs up the phone against from calls from Marcus is the first.
Oh yeah.
Just keeps on hanging up the phone because I assume that this is somebody she's just getting away from, and she's just portrayed as a strong woman, and she
absolutely.
comes up and she's like, I need to see your fucking credentials, Bill Skarsgård. You need to prove to me why I should feel safe around you. To all of a sudden go through, I mean, I guess I can see now after hearing what Cuss had said of experiencing this for weeks, wanting to save somebody else from that. I guess I can see it now more from that perspective.
Yeah.
But it just seems weird to, maybe from the filmmaker side, to kind of write this character as a person who is so strong, trying to save herself, and then all of a sudden put herself in so much danger to save some dude who has been shitty to her and got her in trouble with Mommy Monster almost immediately. Yeah. Just strange.
You don't know the Mommy Monster rules, though.
That's true.
Well, she did.
She did.
She did know the Mommy Monster rules.
No, I said he didn't.
Oh, right. But she tried to tell him and say, hey,
listen
to
me.
me.
2 minutes.
Listen to me.
You're in that
need to do
situation, and you're immediately just yep, that sounds like perfectly logical sense.
No, but
I think
she figured it out real fast. Tess figured it out so fast and was still alive, is I guess all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smarter.
She seems rather cautious. So to go in there head first.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Yeah, it's kind of a weird character flip, rather.
The reason I didn't like it, or at least why I find it dissatisfying, is that the whole second act, you're basically just seeing Justin Long be this sleazy creepy guy, and then for him to be the one that gets saved by Tess is like, oh, great.
Ugh.
Yeah.
It reminds me real quick of like Halloween Season of the Witch. Like, I do not like the main character the whole time because he's a piece of shit who doesn't take care of his kids. He doesn't do his job. He just fucks off to go try to fuck a 22-year-old woman in a hotel like 3 times before he saves the day. Like, what the fuck, you know? But I love the movie. I do. And like, I like by the time it was over and I had some time to digest, I was like, okay, so they're going for like an anti-hero thing where like your main character is just a main character. They're not necessarily a hero in the traditional sense. They're just a guy. I don't know. Not comparable totally to like someone being an actual rapist. But the movie definitely does, I think, play with that a lot, like forcing the audience to follow someone who is an awful person.
Yeah, and I think like, I'm kind of just talking out of my ass here, but I think like,
for a while, what I thought they were going to do was there were multiple times where I was like, oh god, is this movie going to be trying to kind of like do like a kind of an apologist thing, or like maybe we should open up and be more like open to like these people having a redemption arc. But luckily it never teetered into that territory. I just got nervous a couple of times.
I think what it is, again, this is just my interpretation of it, I could be absolutely wrong, but I think her going back for Justin Long, like him being an awful rapist man and having that whole backstory before he ends up down there, is obviously on purpose. So I think it's like at the beginning of the movie, she doesn't trust Bill Skarsgård because like they're just in this weird situation and she's got to be cautious about her or whatever. And then I think like when she meets Justin Long and like wants to go back and save him and she's like really invested in him, it's like, oh yeah, he's going through something very similar as I am, or exactly like I am. And even when she gets out, she's like, well, I know what he's going through, so I can like look past some of these red flags and stuff like that, and I don't think he's that bad of a guy. It's not like she ever knows he's a rapist.
Right, she didn't know that whole story. That's
She's
a good
been in a
point.
hole, she hasn't gotten the news.
Right. Literally under a rock.
Exactly.
Right.
But
In
like,
another sense, you could say that you never know. You never know what people are, you know, what
like, yeah, maybe
you never
like,
know.
what's the word? Trauma bonding? Is that a thing? Is that a thing people say? I feel like I've heard.
Well, that's 2 words, but yeah, sure.
Shut up. And on your own podcast, shut up.
Okay. Yeah.
But am I out of line? Am I saying dumb things with what I'm trying to get at with Justin Long and her?
No, I can see that.
No, I see it. I guess more what I was upset about was just that if it were me, I would get a posse. You know, I'd go in with extra guns, just not
Right.
myself.
Like
I think
my
that's
scenario,
biggest, right, that's your
where I go
like
get
you
the
had said,
sheriff.
cut. Yeah, right. Like it just doesn't make any sense why I'd go in myself.
Okay.
Right.
I think is more with the stronger point that I was worried about. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I feel that. So she goes back for Justin Long.
Mm-hmm.
And she calls the cops, and they're like, man, no one's in this house. All we've seen is that you broke this window. So, fucking, we suck. We're cops. We're out of here.
While she's down there, also 100% called it. You can confirm. I was like, he's going to shoot her. He's going to accidentally shoot her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we totally missed.
When he meets the
When he meets
old
Daddy.
man.
Oh, yeah, he meets Daddy.
We missed when he meets Daddy. But
Well, he's
also-
actually like great grandpa, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we also missed when Justin Long falls in the hole at first. We cut back to the 1980s. To Edward Scissorhands' town, but it's his town and it's the same house. It's in 4x3 now and all that. And things are much more colorful. It's Detroit in the 80s, and we just see a man come out of the house and he goes to a store to buy baby stuff. And the lady at the store is like, you need help. You need a lot more baby stuff than you think.
Another genuinely funny part of the movie.
Yes.
Like slapstick comedy of just like, come on now, you need more diapers. That's not enough diapers.
And then he's leaving diaper store, Babies R Us. And do you think this is how like predators work? They're just like going home and see a lady and go, yeah, I'm gonna follow you home. Is that how it works? Like it's just a spur of the moment thing?
I mean, I think there's like opportunists,
Okay.
and then
I
there's
see
other
that.
people that's way more premeditated.
Absolutely. Anyway, he shows up at her house with a jumpsuit on and goes, "I'm a plumber. Here to see about your pipes."
Spooky.
And she goes, "Cool." And he goes in the bathroom, turns on the sink, unlocks her window, turns it off, and goes, "Yeah, all good. See you later." Then he goes home, and comedian Kurt Braunhofer, I believe his name is, lives next door, and goes, "Hey, we're moving out." And he goes, "I ain't going nowhere." He goes in his house and opens the basement door, and you hear people screaming, and he closes it, and then you're back to Justin Long.
And he finds that man laying in a bed in a pile of filth, all kinds of stuff, all
Coffin.
kinds of tapes full of their, you know, there's no
Atrocities.
sensitive way to put it. It's their rape tapes.
Yeah.
And I did like the tension between him, like doing the thing with his hand, like, "Oh, I want something," and he keeps being like, "What do you want? The water? Does everything else is trash?" But you can see the rope for the fucking bell he saw earlier. He's trying to ring the bell.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's trying to do, to alert Mama, like, "Hey, come eat this person." But he just keeps going, "What? This is all trash. This is all trash here. There's nothing. And then as he's scolding the grandpa for being, you know, a rapist,
Tapes, yeah.
pulls out the gun, shoots himself in the head right in front of Justin Long, but now Justin Long has a gun.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
That he knows
shoots
words.
himself.
Yeah.
The other day I was at work and I asked somebody, I was like, "Do you like," someone who I thought would like this movie, I was like, "Do you like scary movies?" And they're like, "No, not really." And I was like, "Oh, well, I watched a movie I thought you'd really like." And they're like, "Oh, tell me about it." I spent like a good 45 minutes telling them the entire plot of this movie. And I was like, I don't remember how Justin Long gets the gun. And I was like, I think old man is just old. And he's like, "Ugh," and he just takes the gun from him. But yeah, you're right. No, he shoots himself. I absolutely forgot about that.
Yes. So now he's shot Tess. They get out of the house. There was a point where Tess pinned Mama against the wall, but she got out.
Oh, she threw
Whatever.
the car. Because
Yeah.
she meets Homeless Man. And I love Homeless Man. It's like, we gotta go to the water tower because
That's where I live.
she comes out at night.
The freaks come out at night. But yeah, they run off. They find the homeless man because Tess knows where to go. He's talking and he's like, she didn't come this far. She'll never come here. I've been living here 28 years. She never come here. Then she bursts through the wall, rips his arm off, beats him up with the arm. They're chasing.
So funny.
Yeah.
Honestly, feels like a YouTube sketch. Of
Yeah.
Getting beat to death with
Yeah.
their own arm.
Yeah.
They run up the water tower. And then there's a moment again, which I really expected to go a different way. Mama's there. Tess is there wounded. Justin Long's there. And Justin Long, like, hey, there's a way that I can live. And, like,
Continues
grabs...
to be shitty.
Yeah, grabs Tess by the hair and throws her off the water tower because he knows that Mama will follow, and she does, and he can get away, yada, yada, yada. In that moment, I thought, because he had that nice moment at the campfire,
That's what I was-
Yeah.
air quotes nice, where he's like, you know what, I can go on to still do good, even though I did a rape. I thought for sure he was going to, like, sacrifice himself to Mama to save her and try to, like, redeem, because, again, I thought the movie was going to try to do that thing, or it was going to try to be like, oh, rapists can still do good things later.
Do.
But,
That's the Kids You Know theme song.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, then there's the whole thing with like Tess laying there and Mama's laying there, and then you know Justin Long comes up and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." You know, and he's like tries to like excuse his actions by being
Yeah, he
like,
goes,
I
"I
grabbed
love
you
that."
and you just let go, and that's what happened." And
Yeah, he's like, yeah, and I didn't have time to think, and I panicked, and I threw you, and I know you'd be fine. Look,
yeah,
at
you need to be fine, and I was gonna come back for you, and I was gonna save you. Yeah. Mama comes back, kills Justin Long.
Oh, she puts her thumbs through his eyes.
That's what-
Oh,
Ew.
yeah.
Something I
Oh.
love about this movie, don't know how true it is, I read it on IMDb trivia. Zach Krieger, the director, made it a point, like the phrase that he used was like, if John Carpenter couldn't have done it in The Thing, we're not doing it in this movie. So there's like no CGI in this movie, every like
Wow.
effect and stuff like that is all practical.
Big ups, air horns
Like,
all
that's
day.
even-
Don't have
I
an air
mean-
horn, so
Mommy is
Ow.
obviously CGI'd, right?
Oh no.
No?
That's practical to me.
I believe
Does she
she's
really?
like a 6'5" man in a costume.
No way. Wow. Okay, cool.
But anyways, then the mama comes up and she's like, "Mama, baby hurt," and Tess puts a gun to her head and goes kablamo, and then that song plays. That's like, "Be my little baby,
It's good. It's
be
good.
my."
I didn't know how I felt about it at first, like them cutting back from the credits to her walking away. But after like, I don't know, 30 seconds, I was like, this kicks so much ass. This is so good. I loved it.
That's a wrap.
Yeah.
All right, Crust. Any final thoughts on the film?
Yeah.
Feelings?
Yeah, I would say that I really appreciate everything being practical. I would say that it kept me on my toes. I would say that it was genuinely scary sometimes. It was genuinely funny sometimes. I don't think I could ask for much more out of a horror movie. Outside of like
you know, the unfair expectation of it being like The Shining or Halloween or something, but like this is a very good outing, I think. And I'd be very interested to see what Mr. Whitest Kids You Know does next. I think it's, you know, it's so interesting to kind of be not a big conversation what I have, nor do I think it's going to spark one, but I just want to mention, like, you know, we're in the era where like Childish Gambino started by doing skits on YouTube.
Right?
And
Genuine, hilarious kid.
yeah, and like
Also
Jordan,
the best.
Oh.
yeah, and Jordan Peele used to be
He
on like
pooped his pants! I'm so sorry.
That's a sketch that when I see it, I can't tell people about it. I tell them about it and go, we're watching it right now.
and like you know, like the Jordan Peele used to be on like Mad TV, you know. And it's just sort of amazing. I mean, we're in the era where, you know, fucking reality TV.
David can kill Goliath.
Reality TV star can be the president, so.
Forget what I just said.
What's that mattress, man?
So this movie gets a B, though.
A
Yeah.
B? Hmm?
Yeah, it's a
Nice.
B. I think a solid B.
B for Barbarian.
B for Barbarian.
Ah-ha-ha.
Oh.
And you, Nash?
Me? How did I feel about this movie?
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
I liked it quite a bit. Yeah, I heard just nonstop people telling me about how good it was, and so I was like, okay, I'll see it and probably not like it because that's who I am as a person. And I watched it, I was like, God, fuck, that was really good. It was, like Crust was saying, it's I guess a new genre of like a horror movie directed by a comedy guy. It was like legitimately good. Like I said that about, I think by they I mean, I don't know who I mean by they, the business.
Folks,
They
The
talk.
Hollywood elites,
uh-huh.
the liberal Hollywood
Fellas.
left,
Ladies,
talk about how
ladies.
comedic actors can do drama really well, but it doesn't work the other way around. I guess it works for directors like him and Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Like this movie's genuinely funny at times and genuinely scary at times. And I think it mixes pretty well. It's a little fantastic and over the top. Because why does a big milky mommy monster have super strength? I don't know. It doesn't really matter.
Incest.
Yeah, kind of
How's
kind
that
of
logistically making? You know what? It's fine as a movie.
She's been mutated.
It is, but
From
also I'm gonna
incest.
say what
How was
a, you know, what a
Milkers.
yeah, you know, inappropriate portrayal of what incest does to a human being. But you know, I'm not even gonna go there.
Right. Well, they also, I mean, they didn't find the secret wall that has the gym behind it that she fucking pumps iron in every single day.
That and then
That's a deleted scene.
Right.
the medieval stretcher device that Dad puts her in for a couple minutes a day so she gets taller and taller.
Very good point.
But yeah, I thought it was good for all those reasons, and also when a movie like inserts social commentary and stuff like that, I think this is the maybe like some of the best I've seen in a movie, because none of it's like, oh, okay, or like super deep or like super like in your face.
Yeah.
It's always like when I notice it, like I'm always like, oh, clever, fun, and then I just move on with the rest of the movie, and it's like, ah, cool. Thought about it a little bit as well as the rest of the movie, and I'm on with my day. I'm gonna give it a solid B plus.
I don't want to I want to piggyback off your thing, but I don't want to sound too pretentious. I think a movie can send a message and have social commentary or whatever, but like I really do appreciate that David Lynch quote where he's like, I think if you're making a movie to send a message, you're better off going to Western Union or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my personal. That's like 7 out of 10 times though, because there are plenty of movies that I watch that have a message or whatever, yada yada yada. I'm just saying that, like, yeah, I know. I just meant to say more so I know what you mean. Like, sometimes it can tank a movie if they try to like say something. It's like, okay, just
Yeah, like
do the movie.
I think this movie did a good job.
Because you put
of,
your
like,
foot in their mouth when you did that other
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
I think this movie did a good job of having
Not putting
like
its foot in its mouth.
Hey, here's a little bit of what I'm trying to say, but also for a lot of it, it's just you, man. It's like it's just enough of it is a movie rather than social commentary that I think it gets points on both hands.
What message did you think it was sending?
I don't think it was really sending a message totally.
What
More so like,
commentary?
yeah, that's one of the reasons why I think it succeeded, because it didn't totally go anywhere conclusive. It just went like, here's something you might want to think / talk about, and then it carried on.
Yeah, it's not like asking and answering a question.
Yeah.
It's just like playing with situations that are in the same realm and being like, what about this? What about this? And like, it also, I forgot what the end of that sentence was going to be. So cut that out.
But no, yeah, it just brings up the idea of like I said like earlier, like the most on the nose one is like how it keeps playing with like Justin Long's character of like being a rapist, but then making it your main character for a little while, and then teasing a redemption thing, but then not doing it. But also, you know, as like Nick or you guys were talking about earlier, is just the idea of like trust and like how that dynamic changes as the situation changes, and you know, genders get swapped and stuff, and you know, I don't know. I think there's. Like I said, I don't think there's ever like a statement being made.
Yeah.
But there are definitely like things where it's just like something to think about. So, I don't know. What about you guys? You guys got closing thoughts? What do you guys think of it? You guys want to give it grades, Eve?
Ooh,
Yeah, we're
gosh.
watching this podcast now. How do you feel about
Gosh,
this
I
movie?
don't know.
We're flipping on.
How are you on the other
Watching
side?
Might have the turntables. I'm a bit divided. I like
Okay.
it from it's a thriller movie. I was scared. I was jumping. I was sweating.
Can confirm.
Oh, side note real quick. Have you ever seen The Tourist Trap?
No.
Okay, we'll get into that later.
Right over here.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
Yeah, so I mean, I liked it from that perspective. I didn't think it was predictable at all, and I thought it was fun how, I don't know, the Justin Long's character randomly shows up and you're like, what's going on? And then it like cuts back to the 80s and it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I like it from that perspective, and I like that it, you know, uses practical effects, and I thought visually it looked really cool, and was just like, I don't know, cool to watch.
Yeah.
Social commentary aspect, I wasn't a huge fan. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. I was kind of like, okay, he's a shitty guy who raped someone. I don't need to see that again.
Yeah.
That happens enough in real life.
Yeah.
I don't need him to be the main character in this movie that I'm
Yeah.
watching. And I don't know if they really did anything satisfying with
Yeah.
it.
That's fair, because you know,
He
even while you bring that up, that
died,
was another thing that I was thinking was like, is it even
Some death?
Yeah.
Is it nice?
like I was thinking,
Yeah.
is it even satisfying to have him on the water tower and just continue to be bad? Because it kind of sets up like the redemption thing, but if you deny that and you just have him continue to be bad, is that even a satisfying end point for your rapist arc? You know?
That's a good question.
I think
Feels like a whitest kids you know joke, to be honest with you. It's all I come back
Yeah,
to.
okay,
At the end of
yeah.
the day, is like I know his history. Like after I had seen that, I was like, okay, like a lot of things make a lot
Yeah.
more sense.
But I definitely get what you mean about being divided on it for sure. I definitely get what you mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from like, I know I feel like I've been doing an awful job of trying to like explain why I like that part of the social commentary so much, but I think it might be because like the arc or like the thing it's trying to talk about isn't so much him as it is Tess, or like I think it's kind of supposed to be like I feel maybe I think this is a common thing most people go through. You know somebody who is dating somebody or something like that that is dating somebody that you're like, this person is an absolute scumbag. How are the two of you?
Barbarian.
This person's an absolute barbarian. How are you doing this? What are you seeing in this person? And it's like, with her, it's like, well, it's like a similar situation I can relate where this person's coming from, kind of thing.
Because you don't have all the facts,
Yeah.
maybe.
Or you're being
Interesting.
blinded by something that you
By some
share
other
with
thing.
that person.
Right.
Yeah.
But let me give you another example of one of the reasons why I get what you're saying, but also like I'm also divided because like sometimes I appreciate it, but I totally get what you're saying. Like I like the dichotomy between like him not understanding why he's a bad person, but then scolding the old man in the bed.
Yeah,
Like he still
that was
thinks he's
very
above
interesting.
that, right? Because he says that a
Yeah,
couple
that's
times.
a great point,
He's
yeah.
like, I didn't rape a girl. He's like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
like,
is classic black and white. That's a monster. That's a rapist.
Yeah.
Justin Long is, hey, I can kind of try to talk my way out of this to myself, kind of thing.
Right, and
Yeah.
it's like a callback to him being at the dance club when he's
Yeah.
talking to his boy, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Fun fact: the boy he's talking to, guy from Vice Kids, you know, director of this one.
Oh really?
Oh my.
Oh, is it really Zach? I didn't even recognize that.
But before
I
we
think it's just
barrel,
the back of his head, so.
but before we barrel on too much, do you want to wrap up / give it a grade? Slap a grade on that thing.
God,
Grade this meat.
Oh man.
Grade this meat.
grade AA is the best egg you can get.
Grade this meat. Grade this meat.
Grade this meat.
Grade this
You
meat.
guys should say that from now on the end of every episode of your podcast.
Oh, okay, we will.
Chris, we're gonna say that.
Write that down.
Episode.
Write that
Grade this
down.
meat. Write
I'm writing
write
it down. Scribble, scribble, scribble.
My notebook is full of questions for a game show. Go.
Wait, there's also one.
And
other
riddles
thing.
unasked. I'm so sorry.
Elton, give me a riddle right now.
My biggest pet peeve in the world
I'm
is
looking
riddles.
at 2 flowers, Cuss. One has 12 petals and the other has 3. You start plucking. You pluck. 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 Does she love you?
Depends on which flower I started plucking.
Physical challenge. Elton, do a funny amount of push-ups. Nissa, give this movie a grade.
I am gonna give it a B-. But also,
Sure.
there's one other thing that I wasn't a huge fan of, and that was like, I don't know, the way that they talked about Detroit in this movie. It felt like just this weird add-on. I felt like it could have been said anywhere, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, that's
But
definitely
they-
100% fair. Yeah, 100%. I feel like we had a conversation about this, about like the Detroit thing and like our feelings about it, but I will definitely say that I don't think it needed to be set in Detroit, and I do think it is ancillary and kind of superficial that it's set in Detroit. I don't know that there was really a reason for them to set it in Detroit. Is that fair to say, do you think, both of you?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it could have just been 23. I think it could have just been.
Was that your number? Was that the funny number? It was a 14 again?
How many did you do?
24.
24?
And I almost puked.
It's a pretty funny number.
It's a pretty even number, though, so it's not that.
Okay, so odd is funnier to you? Is it
I was
odd?
gonna puke, but I
thought
figured
it was
I didn't want to
gonna be-
clean it up. I was gonna go until I vomited.
Sure.
Okay.
That
Is
would have been
odd
funny.
more funny?
If you did enough push-ups where you vomited, that would have been a very funny.
thought it was
Yeah,
gonna be
that's,
a
in
fine
my head it
number.
was really funny.
I can't
so I
get
did it
over
in my
these
head.
guys.
What were we saying?
Oh, just I think it was ancillary and like superficial.
Detroit.
The
I
Detroit
think
thing.
it's just, it doesn't need to be Detroit. It just
Yeah.
needs to be quote unquote bad city, so that even people who aren't ACAB are like, yeah, believable that the cops wouldn't believe her, or believable that she would decide, yeah, maybe it's better to come in Bill Skarsgård's house than stay
But-
in my car.
Let me flip that. I
Mhm.
mean, where would be a good city? Like if you were
Just
gonna
like
set
a
a good city.
It doesn't even really need to have a name, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it could've just been
that's my
unnamed.
major gripe as a person who lives in Michigan in Metro Detroit. It doesn't have to be Detroit. You guys said I was doing push-ups. I'm sorry I missed all of this conversation, but that's my biggest gripe. It's just like,
Because even part of your thing, I feel like it'd be even more ACAB if it was something that was perceived as good. But maybe they didn't want it to be that. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just talking. Just talking.
yeah.
It's not your podcast. You got nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing to
You
lose.
got nothing to lose.
You just
Yeah.
go home, you go to bed, and you sleep well at night, don't you?
Hell
I
yeah.
sleep
Fucker.
very good. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Chris,
Well,
we-
I gotta
it's
carry
what I
the
love-
weight of this podcast on our shoulders.
Yeah, Chris,
Alright.
that's what I love about being the Bullet Brothers is we're just writing scripts for our movies that we're making. We don't gotta worry about editing. We don't gotta worry about writing letters. We don't gotta worry about watching 2 movies a week. We don't gotta worry about being funny. We don't gotta worry about posting on Instagram. We don't gotta worry about.
Yeah, like what's a reel? I don't understand what a
We
reel
don't gotta
is.
worry about how bad we have to piss right now. It's nothing. It's easy, breezy, beautiful cover.
What else do you do? Bullet Brothers.
Us, nothing. We make movies. We make bullets. We're not gun guys, but it's just our last name, so we thought it'd be good. What else do we do, Crust?
Crank 2, that was all us. Crank 2 High Voltage. We
Yeah,
did
we
that.
did.
Wow.
Wow.
We
Yeah.
put that other guy's name on it. I don't even remember it because I hate him so much. It just walked out of my brain. But the 2 of us, yeah, we directed it.
Crank 2 High Voltage, Wrong Turn 3,
And
8.
Jason Statham's daughter's godfather. Was he in Crank 2?
8-Legged Freaks was also us. We did that one.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did Blair Witch 2, the Book of Shadows.
As the owner of a movie podcast, I've never heard of any of these things. So get the
No?
fuck out of here.
We also do some roofing from time to time.
Did you write the thing? Did you give your closing thoughts and
We just do
write?
push-ups.
No, I was doing push-ups, and you guys pretty much touched on my biggest gripe was the whole Detroit thing. Don't think it needed to be set here. It kind of obscured the ACAB aspect of it because to me it kind of read as Detroit cops are bad and Detroit cops
That's
aren't
fair.
helpful.
Yeah.
You know, and like
And it's like, come on, buddy.
I think that cops can be helpful. They just have too many roles in their job. We don't need to get into this discussion on this podcast. But so it just was a weird weird aspect of it. I really loved the cinematography. I think it was a beautiful movie, and every scene was shot very well. The colors were beautiful, and like very cool dynamic movements for the camera. In a lot of scenes, you know, there's a whole lot of just like really interesting shots where I was just like, wow, this is pretty and like innovative. Like, wow, good.
Yeah, I love how like you don't get a lot of that upstairs. A lot of that comes from downstairs, like just crazy wide lenses and like, as Crust called it, the like hardcore Henry angles of him holding the flashlight and the.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. The hardcore Henry was so
and
cool.
the camera gets like all like pretty like handheld and kind of shaky while they're downstairs. It's nice.
Yeah, they did a lot of super cool stuff with the camera, so I really liked it for that aspect. I think I would give it squarely a B.
Nice.
Hey, word up.
Thanks
What
for
is it?
having us here, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
The Bullet Brothers really appreciated it.
We're gonna
Make
shoot
sure-
out of here.
Yeah, make sure to catch our movie in theaters November 27th.
Which film was it again?
Yeah, what is it called, Crust?
Oh, this one's called The Lampshade.
Oh.
Yeah, A24 is making it.
It's
I couldn't because it's so
experimental.
vague and
Yeah,
it's
like-
like an impressionist painting. It's kind of like beauty's in the eye of the beholder. It's really what you get out of it. So
Right, it's like if you squint your eyes and look at a bright light, and it's
Yeah.
like slightly shaded, huh?
Yeah, like just I guess general overview, like what you get from the trailers. I guess it's about a mother who has postpartum depression. And she wants to kill her kids, and she doesn't know what to do about it. But also, it doesn't end the way you think it does.
Sounds really exciting.
Yeah, it was scored by Michael Giacchino. We all
Oh,
went to high
yeah.
school together. It was also
Well, I don't want anybody hearing too much about this movie, so that's that,
produced by-
Mattress
I'm
Man.
just trying to give flowers to the people that worked on this movie. Chris, shout out someone else that worked on this movie with us.
Shantana Leon.
Yeah, Santana worked real hard on this movie. And his best friend Leon
Mm-hmm.
Kennedy from
Resident Evil?
Whitest Kids You Know.
Boys Kids You Know.
No, I meant to say. No, I meant to say from. Oh, hang on. What's that fucking? Hang on one second.
Yes.
Hang on. Whoa, hang on. One second. What's that fucking movie that's like traffic, looking for my chapstick, feeling kind of car sick. There's a Ford Maverick. That's a million. Oh, sorry.
Premium Rush.
Hang on a second.
From Malibu's Most Wanted.
Yeah, Malibu's Most Wanted.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Premium Rush.
All right.
Either of those. Okay, well, thanks for having us. We're gonna leave. Chris.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye.
Drive safe.
Yep. Have a good one, guys.
And don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, Mattress Man. Is that okay?
Now you gotta plug the Instagram.
That happens in the outro. Don't be fooled by him. He's trying to Bugs Bunny you.
I don't ever listen that far into the podcast anyways.
Bang bang, shots fired, and it wasn't
Damn.
even the Bullet Boys. If you need more soup, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our website, eatingsoupalone.com. And until next time,
Me and Nick used to live in a house that honestly could have been haunted.
Oh, it was.
Yeah,
I don't
we-
believe in ghosts. I think the house is haunted.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We had the same nightmare one time.
Oh. Chris, not to take the talk, not to tell you how to do your job. That's the end of the story. That's the big bang at the end. That's the scariest thing that's ever happened to me, let alone that house.
Okay, well, there was a couple of things before Nick got involved that did happen in the house. Well, no, not even before. While we were living there.
I come in halfway through the story like Justin Long.
We're both chilling in the house.
Please tell me you're not like Justin Long.
I come in halfway through the story like the guy that owned the house.
So our house, the way it was set up at State Park was like living room next to like kitchen, dining room. And then like the middle section, like the middle strip that connected to the back bedrooms was like a little kind of like a vestibule style kind of hallway, like very tiny, but you know, that connected to like a bathroom, and then there was like a hallway lead into the basement next to like a doorway up to the upstairs. So in that little tiny bit that connected the entire house, there was this weird, almost like perfectly for like a Mother Mary kind of like, almost like chapel shaped cutout in
Just
the
a
wall.
divot, yeah.
Yeah, divot in the wall, and there was a picture hanging on there. Me and Nick are just chilling, literally not even moving around, nothing. That fucking thing flew across the room.
Whoa.
The picture that was hanging in there. And we both heard the crash, and we went to the fucking, and we saw it on the floor, and we were like, what the fuck?
No, I think, I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but I think that happened to you and Kayla,
Okay.
and then you told me about it.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, Chris Ghost ain't real. And then we had like a couple other incidents
Uh-huh.
I don't really remember, and you like burned sage and stuff like that. I was like, oh, Chris, Ghost ain't real. And then I was home alone once, and that picture of that hallway fell off. Was across the
jeez.
hallway. And I don't think I ever told you that happened.
No, never heard
Because
that.
I was so scared.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But you can tell the nightmare part.
We also had two incredibly just scary dolls up in our attic.
Well, before you even get there, I guess I should mention that I had a nightmare about the dolls. I thought there was something about the basement that we had the same dream about.
Yes.
Okay.
I was just bringing up the dolls first.
Okay.
The
Guys gotta get me nice and scared
top
before we talk
floor
about this pot.
of this house was like an attic room. Like it was just like the ceiling
Mhm.
pointed up because it was the roof of the house. But it
Yeah.
was like a full-fledged room.
Right.
And then like on the sides, on each opposing wall, there was like a little cupboard that you can go, and that was like storage space and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of them, just in a chair, were just two bald
Like 1883 dolls.
1883 dolls just sitting there, and like the world's creepiest record player with the world's creepiest records that we played, because like it was like old, and like so the speaker on it didn't really work, and like all the records were warped and stuff like that. It was just spooky. Another time I went downstairs, and at the bottom of the stairs, a chair I had never seen before. It was like a folding chair. It was just open, sitting at the bottom of the stairs. I was like, that's spooky. It might have been Chris, but I'm too scared to ask, so I didn't.
Mm.
And then one night, I had a dream that me and Chris were downstairs, like looking at the water heater,
Mm-hmm.
and like a spooky, like grudge style lady came out from under
Whoa.
the water heater, and we went and we ran upstairs. And we ran upstairs out of the kitchen, and then like standing in the living room and looked down the hallway, and in my room was the scary grudge lady, just like floating up in the middle of the room. And we went and then I woke up, and then like the next day, Chris was like, "Yeah, I had a dream that like there was like a scary ghost lady in your room. We were just standing in the living room looking at her."
Oh my
So-
god. This is really scary.
Also, so the dolls, I had a dream. So I used to live upstairs in that like attic-y room, and so the way that it worked was that what?
Was that before or after finding the dolls?
After I knew about the
my
dolls,
God. Oh my god.
but yeah, I had a dream. So basically, the way that the attic room worked was it ran the entire length of the house,
Mm-hmm.
and on either ends, like it was classic like A-frame on the side, so that the front is just flat roof.
Uh-huh.
So on either sides there was two windows, and our bed was like underneath the window at one point.
Right.
And I had a dream that I woke up in the middle of the night and looked out the window, and the two dolls were like sitting on the ledge outside the window, kind of a thing. Scared the shit out of me. Anyways, nothing crazy happened in that house.
Right.
Mm.
But I'll keep telling ghost stories for a second.
Okay.
Set the mood for this one.
Sure.
None of
I
us-
did. I'm remembering one weird Airbnb experience I had.
Perfect.
Yeah. This is before I met Nissa. Was on Tinder for a long time, and went on a date with some girl, and she invited me to go to an Airbnb to just like hang out in a hot tub, and I'm like, totally. I would love to sit in a hot tub. It's the middle of winter.
I'd love to die in a hot tub. Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
I don't know why I'm not in one right. Oh, they're right. They're expensive. That's
Right.
fine, Yeah.
Whatever. Let's blow all our cash on one hot tub for my house.
They're like $4,000 or something.
It's not bad.
That's not bad.
I can afford that. Invites me over, and I'm just sitting in this hot tub for like an hour, and then she mentions that the guy who rents out the Airbnb still lives in it, and he's also a chef, so he's gonna like come back tonight and maybe cook us some food. And I'm like, well, why is he here though? I don't like that this man is here. He shouldn't be here if this is an Airbnb.
Yeah.
So that was very strange.
That is absolutely strange.
Yeah, looking back, it's definitely a scenario for this movie to take place.
Wait, so was she renting the Airbnb?
Yeah, with the owner still there.
Is that legal?
I don't know. I really
Good
don't think
God.
so.
Mm.
Yeah, really weird.
That is odd.
Yeah. But thank you. It was in the middle of Ferndale, so what's gonna happen?
Should I tell a couple more ghost stories and then we get into the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was like 17, 16, senior year of high school, I lived in my mom's basement. And I was dating a girl at the time who had just graduated high school, and she was working midnights at Tim Hortons. And one night she was sleeping over, kind of. Like, it was like a, like she wouldn't really sleep over at first. She would kind of just come over because that's when she was awake, was nighttime. And my mom was like, all right with that because she understood that she worked midnights, yada, yada, yada. But I woke up at, sue me, swear to fucking God, it was 3 in the morning. And I'm afraid of the dark. So there was always like a light in the far corner on, so just dim light. Straight up, swear to God, so I saw the shadowy figure of a person. And I like immediately closed my eyes and I was like, oh my fucking God, oh my fucking God, oh God. And then I was like, relax, you just woke up, maybe you're still like kind of hallucinating or whatever. I'm just gonna turn on this lamp and it'll be gone. And I opened my eyes and it was gone, right? So I was just like, okay, fuck, holy shit. So I like started shaking Michaela and I was like, Michaela, you're never gonna fucking believe this. Like I woke up and I was like, oh shit, it's a shadowy person, yada yada yada, super fucking scary. Turned the lamp on and stuff like that. And during that whole thing, she was kind of like, what, like, eyes closed, still kind of a thing. And I finished the whole story and there was like a beat and she was like, she's gonna get you. And I was like, Michaela, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, yada yada yada. And then she woke up like fully, like opened her eyes and stuff like that. And I told her the whole story. I was like, oh my God, the man. And then I was like, oh my God, don't look, the guy's gonna be gone. I'll turn the lamp on or whatever. And then I told you, and he said she's gonna get you, thing, yada yada yada. And she was like, that is fucking insane. I just had that exact experience as a dream, but I was standing over the bed.
Was she the ghost?
She was the man.
I don't know.
Yeah, she was the
God.
man. You were sleeping next to a man.
And the next day we went to a psychic because we were like, what the fuck was that? And the psychic was like,
day. Wow.
yeah, the psychic was like, you're gonna be a professor one day. And I was like, I get it, I wear glasses. So that was that story. That doesn't go anywhere else. That just happened to me. And then, I mean, it's that's
Did the psychic tell you anything other than you?
Yeah, did they say anything about the ghost?
no.
No, you were visited by Mr. Knowledge.
It was something about now you reminded me. Yeah, she said something about like Michaela having something attached to her that's always following her or something like that. I don't know.
It
Or
follows.
something like that.
Or-
I feel like that's the main takeaway
I
from
know.
that visit
Yeah.
to a psychic.
That's one of those things that feels
you
like
might be a professor.
I don't know. That part feels too like The Conjuring to me. Like I'm like, okay, Mr. Psychic. Yeah, there's someone following me. I don't know. I'm a believer,
But-
sure, but I'm also not a believer. Like I'm really skeptical. I don't know.
Interesting.
What are you gonna do? You want me to tell another?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many you got?
I don't have any
I got a lot of
haunting
ghost
stories.
Really?
You got no
None?
haunting stories?
I've seen.
Do you have some, Reza?
I have one.
I've seen one or two.
Let's
spooky
hear that
things.
first.
Yeah.
Well, it's unfortunately not very exciting, but one time when I was like 12 or something, I was at my parents' house and all my family were downstairs, and I decided to go upstairs to, I don't know, use the bathroom or something. And when I went upstairs, I passed by my parents' bedroom and I just glanced in there, and I believe that I saw my grandmother in there, and she was standing at the foot of their bed, and she was wearing this blue raincoat, which we have a photo of her wearing in our house, and she had her hands in this laundry basket. And so I went to the bathroom, and then I was like, that was weird, why? I assumed it was my sister, so I went back, and there was no one there.
Tears in my eyes are watering.
Yeah.
Grandma.
For real?
That's what happens when I get a little spooked,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ugh. Gross. I have a slightly similar story. I lived in this house in East Point where like my mom and dad's bedroom was across the hall from mine, and our beds were set up in a way which were like I could look through the hall and see them in bed, And I woke up for some reason like super early. Sun was up, but like super early. And it must have been an off day for both my parents, like a Saturday or Sunday, because they were both in bed. And I woke up and I was just like, and this was not normal. I was just like unsettled, like scared a little bit. I went there and tried to wake him up, but it was one of those things where like, I know it's not, but as a kid it felt almost supernatural. Like the fact that I kept shoving them and they just wouldn't even like budge. They wouldn't even make a noise, nothing. And I was like, fuck it, I guess I'll like lay on the floor until they like wake
because
up.
they were
or whatever.
dead, right?
No. Yeah. This is the time I found both my parents dead.
In an Airbnb.
Yeah. So I was laying on the floor, and I was like, they gotta wake up soon-ish. The sun's up. No concept of what time it is. and I was like just looking into my room, kind of staring blankly, thinking. And on my I had like one of those like headboardy / shelf-ish bits to my bed.
Yeah.
And I had like a picture of my grandma, like a really nice like 80s picture of her in like kind of a permy whatever, and sequence kind of whatever, with the backdrop that's like a pastel gray blue or whatever, yada yada yada.
I'm picturing it now.
And I was just looking at it, just not even thinking about anything, really just kind of zoning out. And I fucking swear to God, on a stack of Bibles, the motherfucking picture winked at me and I lost my shit. I fucking freaked out and definitely woke my parents up. Yeah.
Wow.
Scared the shit out of me.
I feel like if anything like that happened to me, I would go insane.
Again, like both those
what
stories
a
are kind of like sleepy, so I'm like, whatever. I was probably hallucinating early in the morning or something, but that scared the shit out of me.
I used to have a friend who had a ghosty experience as a kid. Like, I can't remember it like beat for beat because it's someone else's story.
Mm-hmm.
But he like as a kid was like woke up in the middle of the night and was like wandering around his house, just like I don't know, 5, 6 years old, and like opened a door and saw the Count from Sesame Street, which is in his like spare bedroom or something like that.
Was there an arm under him?
No, it was just a full blown Count, legs and everything, and like I like ran away to go get somebody who came back and it was gone, something like that. And then years and years and years later, not after that, but after he told me, I guess both, him and I lived together, and we had a band that will not be named stay at our house, and I think it was the bassist from this band. We were talking about ghosts, and was like, yeah, no, I had a weird like experience like as a kid. Like I remember seeing like the Count from Sesame Street just like hanging out in a room in my house or something like that. And I looked over at my friend, and he was about to cry. And I was like, oh no. And then like an hour passed, and like me and him like bumped into each other in another room. And he's like, did you hear that he had the same fucking Sesame Street ghost experience as I did? And I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
yeah, but that's insane. I think that's just a coincidence. He's like, no, it can't be. It can't be. It can't
You guys encountered the Count Man?
be. Yeah.
It was Nosferatu.
That reminds me of my brother Donald. My brother Donald used to swear to God that he saw Pac-Man ghosts at night. When he was like 5, 6, he'd be like, yeah, they're just Pac-Man ghosts running around the house at night.
He was
Yeah.
drinking a lot of Robitussin at the time.
Now I like to think I know Donald.
Yeah.
A little bit at least. Do you think Donald still thinks that happened, or do you think Donald just doesn't bring it up anymore?
He never brings it up, no. There's another thing he never brings up, which I always think about, which is like a little bit after that, maybe around the same time. Remember him telling me the story of like being in his room upstairs alone, and my sister Danielle's room was right next to him, and he remembers like a little girl running through the hallway into the room or whatever, and he was like, Danielle, what the hell are you doing, kind of a thing. He didn't say hell, obviously.
What the
but-
H-E double hockey stick?
He used to say things like, instead of saying like my cock and balls, he'd be like, oh, my area. So maybe he might have said something like that. But
Hey,
Yeah.
me and Donald were the same kid.
and then he was like, so I got up and I looked in the room, and he was like, and the fucking lights were off, and she was not in there, which was only creepy because like he had a couple other stories really spaced out of like seeing like a little girl. Like he was like, yeah, like last night I woke up and I looked in the corner of my room or whatever, and there was like Danielle, like I thought like in my corner just like crouched, and I was like, Danielle, what are you doing? And she wouldn't answer me and stuff like that. And then she just kind of like disappeared in front of my eyes, kind of a thing, or whatever. But he was like, yeah, it was like a little girl in like pajamas or whatever, and I thought it was Danielle, but she like disappeared or whatever. I was like, oh my god.
Interesting.
Yikes. Yeah. Those were all around the same time in the same house. The only thing that ever happened to me in that house, is I was sitting on the couch with my sister Marley watching like a late night, crime procedural kind of like, forensic files, something like that, whatever, who knows. And we just heard at the bottom of the steps, it could have been a house settling and creaking or whatever, but it scared the fuck out of us. It just sounded like a big like step at the bottom of the steps kind of a thing. We're just like, what the fuck? Oh my god, that kind of thing. It scared the shit out of us. But so I never had anything spooky in the house, but the fact that the little girl kept showing up for Donald, I was like, that's scary as hell.
One night, Chris and I watched The Conjuring, and it really spooked us. I think it was The Conjuring. It really spooked us.
In this house? In my house?
In this house.
Wow.
In
Your
the
house.
studio.
In the studio, yeah. I went to bed, and I'm in my bed. I got a bed here. And I'm in bed for like an hour.
Our bed.
And I'm like spooked. spooked as hell.
Mm.
Like I've seen the movie 1,000 times, so I'm still just spooked. You're looking at me.
Mm.
And I'm like slowly drifting off to sleep. And I feel this just like insane pressure on the end of my bed. Like something has put its hands on it. And then like more, like they're like feet or something like that. It was Cooper. And then I just got behind me and she's just been hanging out in my room for like an hour.
I think I have one last one before I get the movie, or we get the movie stuff going. That same house I was talking about with my grandma winking at me, that was a house in East Point where a, like, what do you call them, like spinsters, like an old lady who never, like, settled down, had kids, and like that, right?
Spinster, yeah.
A hag. She, like, lived down in this dungeon. No, now she died in the house. She was a waitress, and she had like kind of a boyfriend. They weren't that serious, but basically she was dead in the house for a couple days, maybe a week. And the boyfriend kind of went into work and was like, "Hey, I haven't heard from her in a while. Like, is she in today?" Kind of thing. And they're like, "No, we haven't heard from her either." So he decided to go by the house, knocking, nobody's answering. So I guess like whatever situation, he got into the house kind of a thing and found her dead, basically. My sister Marley, I don't remember any stories, but she says that she saw, you know, like a ghosty woman a couple times. But I do know for a fact that my mom swears she was like, there was one fucking night where I woke up for some reason, I was wide ass awake, you know, and I just saw like a ghostly like woman come in from the hallway, see me, and start running towards me, and I fucking put my shit under the blanket kind of a thing, and I was just sitting there until I calmed down, and I looked and there was nothing there, whatever. Yeah, so
Wow.
I don't know.
I also forgot that at our old place,
Yeah.
it's one of the like 4 or 5 times in my life I've had sleep paralysis. Like a
God.
but like can't move and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
that is one of my biggest fears. They say sleeping on your
It's
back increases
freaky.
your chance of getting it.
Yeah,
You've
it's
had it?
freaky. I've had it at your house before.
God,
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
get there.
Yeah.
Start
I've
here.
had it at my house 1,000 times.
Yeah, I
Oh
looked
my
up in the corner
God.
of your room, and there was just like a big maw, like a big demon face and mouth, looking at me while I'm in your
I'm
bed.
going to KMS.
I
Didn't
wanna
tell
die.
me that.
Well, because I didn't want to scare you, but now we're scaring you, so.
Okay, great.
We're watching a horror movie after this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had it once in this house, a few
off.
times in my parents' house,
Dude, it's one of my
and
biggest
once at
fears.
our old house.
Because you know how you're always like, well, if I saw something, I'd go and say, if I had sleep paralysis, I actually legitimately think I might like die of a heart attack or something.
It
I
fe-
wouldn't be able
You've
to
never
handle
had
it.
it.
No, I would
Really?
not be able to handle it either. I couldn't. I'm not strong enough.
In my
Not too bad,
experience,
just close your
it
eyes.
feels like you won't.
I feel like I'm about to faint right
That's-
now.
They're already
I think that's
closed, Chris.
I think that's what's scary is that your eyes are already closed, but like because you're kind of in a dream
Yeah.
state, it's like you can see things, so
Yeah.
you want to open your eyes, but you can't control any of your body. So
They say start
can't
by
open them.
trying to wiggle your feet. Your toes.
Oh.
Your toes.
Wiggle your big toe.
Yeah, they say like start there and you'll slowly regain like the ability and you'll be able to shut it down pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah,
say start
it's-
with your toes.
It's not like it's hard to explain, especially after everything I'm going to say about it in a second. It's not scary while it's happening, kinda. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
I get what you're saying in a sense, not because I've experienced it, but because like I said with that ting tangin', it was one of those things
Yeah.
where like in my head I thought this is objectively scary as fuck because I wasn't thinking about
Yeah.
like it being the radiator like during the nighttime. Like when I woke up I was like, oh yeah, radiators do that when they're warming up or whatever. But at night I was like, that's scary as fuck, but also I'm super tired, so I'm going right back to bed.
Mhm.
So
That's-
kind of like that
that
kind
was
of a
my
thing.
experience.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, it's always been like
I don't have the energy to deal with this right now.
Yeah, exactly.
it's just like dream logic the whole time, but you
Yeah.
know you're in your room, and yeah, like you said, your eyes are still closed, so you're just dreaming that you're in that room. That it's spooky and scary, and like after a while, when you realize like, oh, I can't get out of this bed, and it feels like you're doing it for days and days and days, but in a way, it feels like a day passes in a dream. If that makes any sense.
Mhm.
But when I had it at our old place, you know, people talk about like having like I see when I do it happens, I see someone in the corner of the room, or someone sitting on my bed, or someone like over me, or something like that. When I had it in our old place, I had the thing where somebody was over me, and I swear to God, Scout's honor, it was the lady from the dream that we both had. And just like the picture, I think that's a story I've never.
And
told
Cuss
before,
just
because
died.
It's too scary.
Wow.